Hello, my name is Mr. Delay, and, well, this is my classroom. It's Tuesday, April 21st, 2020. Class is now in session.
Hey, listen!
I can stop.
Get nerdy with me.
Bring to Middle Earth, do you speak my language? Your elf ears don't need explaining.
Get nerdy with me.
You name all 12 of the darks, I can't resist that. And what's the core in your wand? I think that ours match.
Talk nerdy to me. Talk nerdy to me.
First up is the news that you may have seen on Google Classroom. You may have already heard about it through your news sources. Yesterday, after a press conference, Governor Polis put out a press release stating that all secondary and higher education, basically all schools, will remain closed through the end of the year. So what that translates to is the in-person learning that we've been used to for our entire lives will not resume this year. We will still do our distance learning. We will still be doing that through, I believe, May 22nd or whatever the last day of school for us is. But we will not be coming back to our buildings for in-person class. It is sad. It is frustrating. So I don't want you to feel like whatever emotions you're feeling right now are wrong. It's a normal reaction. This is a part of this unique situation that really does suck, and it's hard for students. It's hard for teachers because we're used to being in community. We're used to being in the room together, learning together, being in community together with our friends, and all of that. And this situation hasn't allowed us to do that since March 13th. And so there's that kind of that sense of heaviness that you feel maybe in your heart. And that's okay. It's okay not to feel okay right now. I am not happy. I'm honestly sad and a little it's heartbroken is the word, because I don't get to be back with my students, back with you guys again, to say, finish out the year and then wish you luck as you move on to 7th grade. And my 7th graders who were my 6th graders last year, I don't get to say good luck in 8th grade and cheer you on and stuff. So I'll do all of that from a distance, but it's different and it's not easy. But we will get through this, and we'll get through it. We'll figure it out. It's going to make things a little more challenging for us in the next couple of weeks as we kind of try and close out the school year successfully. As for what will happen to get our stuff, to drop off Chromebooks, all those organizational pieces to close out the school year, our principals and our administration and everybody who's in charge of that, they're going to come up with a plan, they're going to work on that, and they'll let us know what that is, because we do need to get those Chromebooks back, and then we need to get your backpack stuff, and whatever things you left at school when we left, we still need to get that back to you. So trust me, that process will be facilitated and figured out and made to be a thing. So on that end, don't panic, pump the brakes, and we'll let you know what that will look like, because I'm in the same boat. I have to empty out my classroom and close out my classroom at the end of the school year, so I have to wait for answers on that too. So I'm going to wait patiently and let the people in charge who get to make those decisions and make those plans, and let them make their plans. So the assignment I wanted to talk about today is the reading skills and making inferences on All Summer in a Day. Now this one is this is kind of like, it's a new concept, but it's got basis in an old concept that we've talked about before. So to review, what it's asking you to do is a 3-step process as you read the story. And if you've already read the story, you just have to go back and read through it again and kind of work through this. But it's asking you there's 3 columns, right? There's the clues from the story, my knowledge, and then the inference. So the clues from the story is what you read and what you see in the story, and you go, ooh, that's an interesting, something's going on there. Your knowledge is, what do you know about what that situation would feel like? So in the example that I provided to you, clues from the story is Margot is not part of any group. And we see that through the story because she separates herself and she's distanced. She looks different. Kids are not sure what to do with her. They don't think she's a part of their community. They kind of physically and even verbally kind of separate her from the group. And so that's our clue. And then the example is, well, how would it feel to be in that situation? Well, it would be sad. Not being part of a group can make you sad. And then the inference, which is the interpretation, the implication, you know those things we talked about, the implicit, the stuff that you read between the lines to make your conclusion? The inference is Margot feels sad. But the details and the way we get there is the first 2 columns. So yeah, Margot feels sad. We know that from reading the story, but how do we get there? How do we make that conclusion? Well, we look at the fact that she's not part of a group. Then we use our knowledge to what it feels like to not be part of a group. And I've been there, I'm sure you have in your life. Not being a part of a group can make you sad. So the inference, conclusion, guess that we can take is Margot feels sad. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go through the story and look at certain characters' actions and dialogues and things that they do. And you can use that as a clue from the story to build in an inference. So there's plenty of characters in the story to talk about. First of all, the teacher. What is a clue from the story about the teacher that you can use? Keeping in mind, what do we see of the teacher? Is she verbal? Is she always there? Is she not always there? And then your knowledge might be, well, what does that impression create in you? What do you know about if a teacher is doing the things that the teacher does in this story? Well, now you have some knowledge. Now, what is your inference? What is your interpretation? What is your thought process? What are you thinking? What are you using those 2 things to draw a conclusion about? And you could say, well, the teacher isn't this, or the teacher is this. But you have to get there using the clues from the story. You look at the story and go, here's the teacher's actions. Well, what is my knowledge about those the teacher's actions? And then, hey, here's what my inference is about that. So you can look at all the characters in the story. You can look at the boy who's kind of mean to her. Look at his actions in the story, what he says to her, how he says it. Then you draw on your knowledge of what would that look like? What does that mean? What do I know about when someone does that to me? And then you bring in an inference about how the character feels, what kind of a character they are, etc., etc. It's similar to when we talk about building evidence. So the racer example. So we restate the question, we answer the question, we cite our evidence, and then we explain. So the citing of the evidence is the clues from the story, and then your knowledge is your explanation of what you know about what that means, and then the inference is you answering the question. So there's a lot of different ways to go about this, and I know this is stretching us a little bit. This is a new concept, and it's not that I'm not doing this to throw you or to overwhelm you or to freak you out. It's not the goal here. The goal here is to kind of push you a little bit and try to take some risks and take your best guess. I'm not going to grade you on oh, you didn't do this particularly right. Oh, no. I want to see you try and run with it and see what you think. Taking what you can from the story and building out, 2 or 3 of these things. If you want to do more, you can. The goal here is to continue to practice with our brains and to grow our brains and to engage with the work. I want you to keep trying your best to kind of expand your critical thinking, to expand your critical response, but also to expand how you look at a story and what you look for in a story and how you read between those lines and how you read what is happening in the story and then interpreting that and putting that out there. So again, this is a bit of a stretch, and that's okay. We should always try and go a little bit farther in our learning. We should always try to go to the next thing. If we hit a goal, the next time we do that assignment or we do something, we should say, you know what? How can I do something a little bit different? How can I expand this? How can I take a risk here? And risk is good. Risk, it's scary, sure, but in this situation, the risk is safe because all I'm going to do is be like, nice, good work, or hey, I like how you're thinking, and I'll give you some feedback on it from there. So I hope this explains a little bit more of what I'm looking for and what I'm thinking. Try it, take a risk. I'm not going to beat you up if you didn't do it all the way correct. I'm going to give you feedback on like, hey, here's where you did awesome. Here's where you can work on this, and then this is the next time you have something like this. Here's how you can look at it a little differently and kind of shape your answer and shape your thinking. If you give me nothing, well, then I can't give you feedback. So I desperately want you to give me something so that I can look at your thinking and go, ooh, here's cool. So let me help. Let me be the teacher and kind of look at what you're doing and give you some guidance and help guide you where you can go with it. That is the extent of that assignment. I'll talk more about the other assignments tomorrow. And yeah, that's what the long and short of it. My name is Mr. Delay. It's a little bit of a sad day with the announcement about school, but I also know that I get to see you here and on Google Classroom and on Hangouts between now and May 22nd. So I may not be able to see you in person and high five you in person and fist bump you in person and elbow bump you and hip check you and all those things in person, but I get to see you here. That's a small consolation prize for me, and I'll take it. I'll take it as a win. Not the most exciting win like a Super Bowl win, but it's a win. It's a win that I get to hang out with you and teach you even from a distance. My name is Mr. Delay. Stay safe, stay healthy, and know that your love will see you